This one's for the beginners. I'm sharing my favorite easy and fast sewing patterns and tutorials. Welcome to the Sewing Report. I'm Jen. This channel is all about making sewing and crafts fun and approachable, and we've been learning to sew featuring the Brother CS7000i, so subscribe if you don't know how to use a sewing machine but you'd like to. I've tried out lots of patterns and tutorials over the years, and some are better than others. Let's go over some of my top recommendations. These are beginner friendly. You can sew them up in about a day or less. Most of them are free and all have step-by-step video instruction, which I know is super important to many of you. You'll find all of the links and other information down below in the description box. Also, for many of these makes, I used fabric from the Oasis collection by Figo Fabrics. As of right now, there are a few fat quarter bundles left in the Sewing Report Etsy shop if you like these designs. We'll start with the best boxy pouch tutorial I have found to date. It's a free, yes free tutorial with a step-by-step video by Sewtech Handmade. Its finished size is about 7 inches long, and it's perfect for a pencil case or makeup bag. The fabric requirements are scrap-friendly, with the biggest piece being the lining at 6 by 10 inches. What I love about this version of the boxy pouch is the ingenious technique for the boxed corners. You do not have to pinch, sew, and cut each corner. Instead, Svetlana teaches you how to fold the corners. It's very simple and saves time. I would say the most difficult step is actually sewing the zipper, but that's something you would do on any zipper pouch. Usually I hold the zipper and fabric together with glue, but instead I tried using Wonder Clips and did find this to be a solid method as well. The faux binding at the top next to the zipper is a really cute accent, and I enjoyed making these. The boxy pouch has a neat finish thanks to the binding on the inside seam, but it's constructed in a different way than most tutorials, so you don't have to turn the entire pouch out through a hole in the lining. They're also one of the quickest projects on this list. Moving on to another scrap buster, the Petit Four baskets from By Annie Patterns. This is a free sewing pattern to make a small basket that ends up around 5 by 4 inches and 2.5 inches tall. You only need 10 by 10 inch squares of fabric and a piece of foam stabilizer like Soft and Stable. There is pretty much a full-out video tutorial on byannie.com. I recommend watching it before starting the project. I chose to quilt my main fabric to the Soft and Stable. Pay close attention to the instructions because the measurements are very precise. The main piece and lining have different mark and cut lines, and that almost tripped me up. The baskets have a faux binding on the top edge, but that's created through the way the lining is stitched to the quilted piece. Toward the end, you turn the basket right side out through a small opening in the lining, and I found this part to be a little frustrating but doable. Annie's video instruction is very clear, and she offers helpful tips along the way. These are perfect for storing small items in your sewing room or to use as little gift baskets. This one might look familiar because it's a free tutorial here on the Sewing Report. Check out the full videos for how to make drawstring bags, lined and unlined, and scrappy holiday lined drawstring bags. I've shown how to make 3 different sizes of lined drawstring bags, and you can experiment with color blocking and adding embellishments like pom-pom trim. While I use twill tape for the drawstring, you can also use ribbon, bias tape, or string. Drawstring bags are great to use as reusable gift bags, and you could use upcycled or thrifted material, so they're truly eco-friendly. I'll usually make multiples at one time, which is called batch sewing. If you start sewing bags every once in a while, you'll end up with plenty for the holiday season to cut down on buying gift wrapping supplies. What I really like about these is how the look can totally change just based on the fabrics and trim. Depending on which size you make, it can be a great way to use up scraps. I'd say the most difficult part of this project is boxing out the corners. FYI, I do still have a few ready-to-sew kits available in the Sewing Report Etsy shop. This is the only paid PDF pattern, but I promise it's a good one. This is the Petal Pouch by Noodlehead. Definitely scrap friendly, and the pattern includes 2 different sizes for this curvy pouch with clever darts at the bottom corners to give the bag a 3-dimensional shape. I've made quite a few petal pouches in both sizes and a variety of fabrics. There are many ways to customize and add on to this pattern. The most difficult part is attaching the zipper to the curved panels, but Jess Oakleroots has a very detailed video walkthrough with some good tips. I totally appreciate how this pouch has a boxed corner look without the work of actually boxing out the corners by incorporating those darts. Once you have the method down, you could crank out a lot of these at one time. Recently, I sewed with cork fabric for the very first time and had success making it into a pedal pouch. A simple lined tote bag looks more impressive than it actually is to make, but shh, don't tell anybody. This was a recent sewing report tutorial, so check out the full video for step-by-step instructions. I used cotton canvas for the main and lining fabrics and stabilized the exterior even more with interfacing. It's a pretty durable bag. While this is the largest sewing project in the lineup, it's really not more time-consuming, the pieces are just bigger. The bag has a divider pocket featuring bias binding covering the top edge. Not surprisingly, the most difficult step is pinching and boxing the four corners. If you can't tell, I don't really like doing this, but it's absolutely worth it because the finished tote bag is gorgeous and has a neatly tailored look with the top stitching. This one was an early addition in my Learn to Sew series. I showed 2 easy methods to make hair scrunchies. One done entirely on a sewing machine and the other with some light hand sewing. Scrunchies are one of the quickest sewing projects and a good way to use up those longer pieces of fabric you have laying around. The final step of closing up that opening can be a little tedious, but it's really not that bad all things considered. Out of all of these tutorials, this is probably the fastest to make with the least amount of fabric required. You could make scrunchies out of leftover fabric from sewing a garment or even coordinate to match something like a face mask. That's my rundown of sewing projects that are both fast and easy. Let me know down in the comments which one is your favorite and if there are any others you'd recommend. Be sure to check out some of my other beginner sewing videos here featuring the Brother CS7000i and subscribe to this channel if you'd like to join this community. Thanks for watching. I'm Jen with the Sewing Report, and remember, whatever you're doing, make it fun.